back everyone to the channel where we fearlessly empower others to reach their full potential. And in this chapter, in this act, we're going to combine all of the lessons that we've learned before into really things that can really change our life, which is to crush bad habits and form our new epic habits, right? And the secret to that is to change your life, you change your day. The lessons learned for this act are thoughts become action, your actions become your habits form into your character, and your character determines your destiny. The next one is to change your life, you have to change your day. And then where focus goes, energy flows, results are soon to show. The story I'd like to share with you is most of my life I liked to drink Mountain Dew. It was just something that I desired. I didn't even think about when I drank. If there was a snack bar, I would buy Mountain Dew. If I went to a store, I would just find the one cooler that had it there, and I didn't even think about it. I just bought it and drank it. Well, then I went to the doctor about 3 years back, and the doctor didn't give me good news. He said basically I was borderline diabetic and I needed to make some life changes. Well, that determined to me that drinking Mountain Dew was a bad habit because it was a very large source of sugar, and that is one of the main causes that would cause my blood work to come back that way. So I needed to crush that bad habit and to form a new good habit. And so that's what we're going to be doing this lesson. All right, focus for this week, the verses for this week is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God and what is good and acceptable and perfect. The next verse is Acts 20:35. In all things I have shown you that by working hard in this way we must help the weak, and remember the words of Lord Jesus, how he himself said, it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28. If you want to know the theme for this lesson, here it is. Let the thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that way he may have something to share with anyone in need. If you want to talk about a verse that says bad habit and turning it into a good habit for others, that's what this channel is all about, empowering others. So to change your life, you must change your habits. So one of the things, the example is for me, if I want to change and lower my my blood sugar, I really need to crush that Mountain Dew drinking habit. So I don't know where I formed it, but it was just something that came automatic. And so that's what I'm saying. Your thoughts form your actions form your habits form your character, and your character will determine your destiny. Well, if I kept drinking Mountain Dew with a lot of sugar, I would be a diabetic. I'm sure if I didn't start exercising, I would have other bad habits. Know that 95% of all of your habits are automatic. We are literally sleepwalking through life, doing the things that we have learned without looking back at ourselves in a mirror going, what parts of my life do I need to change? So that way that not only that I can benefit myself, but then empower others. So your habits are things like how you brush your teeth in the morning, how you wake up, what's your routine, what do you drink in the morning, what do you eat in the morning, the way you drive, do you text while you drive? So whether it's good habits that are just automatic things you get ready for your day, or things that in a lot of states and a lot of places are illegal, we have learned those and they're just automatic, we don't think of them. Well, the difference between a routine and a habit is a routine is something that we have to schedule or do that takes intentional effort. A habit is something that happens automatically. So the secret is good habits are hard to form but easy to lose, and bad habits are easy to form and hard to lose. So for us to change our life, we have to change one day at a time. But in order to do that, we have to ask ourselves two questions. What are the habits that we need to break? So to me, I knew I had high blood sugar, and I knew I was borderline diabetic. So I knew what I needed to change. So in my journey, I knew where my starting point is. My end destination was to get that number lower, but I needed to figure out what were the habits that were forming that. So what did I have to change So if an airplane flies from point A to point B, it needs to have waypoints. Those waypoints are your habits. So in my life, it was I needed to form the habit of exercising regularly. I needed to form the habit of cutting a lot of sugar out of my diet. So that's where you want to be. Some of the reasons why we fail. One is we don't control our environment, meaning if I drink a lot of Mountain Dew and I have one in the fridge sitting next to me, it's just harder to resist than it is not to have it there to begin with. Number two, you're not committed. Before I found out because of my blood sugar level, people would say, hey, you need to stop that, it's not healthy. You could read all the reports you want and tell you that's not healthy, but I didn't have enough commitment to stop. The next part is I was too focused on an outcome. So I have been trying to quit that drink for years and I just couldn't stop it. It was because I was so focused on quitting cold turkey as opposed to the last thing, the reason why we fail is the importance of small steps. So even cutting down your usage is a start, and then to cut it off eventually or replace it with something so that way you can do that. So where focus goes, energy flows, and results are soon to show. So when you're looking at a habit to change something, whether it is small or big, if you look and you want to climb to the top of a very tall building, if you look at all the stairs and all the flights and it's 50 flights of stairs, you're just going, oh my goodness, I cannot climb all those stairs. But if you just focus on one stair in front of you. So for me, these videos, forming this channel, me doing one video, maybe per week, maybe more often, is one step to forming a channel, forming a community that is dedicated to having people that will come around me that want to empower others, that want to learn together, that want to be better together. So that's the same thing. Don't look at all the stairways, just look at the step. You can look down to see how far we've come. So even when I'm gonna look, this is my 12th video. So when I look down, I go, wow, I've done 11 videos and they're posted. So even though I haven't made my dent in the universe yet, but it's one step at a time. So here are 4 steps that will help you kind of turn your bad habits, crush those bad habits and turn them into epic good habits. Number 1, identify the triggers. So for me, when I wanted to stop drinking Mountain Dew, I knew I was craving it at work, not at home, because I didn't have Mountain Dew at home. I was craving it at work at 2 o'clock. For some odd reason, I would go on the slope, and especially if I wasn't busy, I would just stop what I'm doing, automatically go to the snack bar, buy a Mountain Dew, and then come back and drink it. I'm like, wow, automatically I wasn't thinking. Once I figured out what my trigger was, I could then move into what the next step was. And so you ask yourselves, maybe it's a person that's making you do a bad habit. Maybe it's something that you crave. Maybe it's a situation, like maybe you were facing stress and you eat, sweet food and you want to quit sweet food. You need to figure out that trigger in order for you to move to the next step. The next step is to change your environment. You need to literally eliminate the source or the trigger of whatever it is. So for me, it was Mountain Dew was the source. So me having Mountain Dew in the fridge next to me was not helping me whatsoever. So what I need to do is take care of all of those, and then right around that time, make sure that I was extremely focused on something so that way I did not have that craving. So I had to clean house. I want you to know something about willpower. Willpower is like the battery in your phone. The more you use it, the more you're drained by the end of the day, and the more you will give in to maybe your other bad habits that you're trying to do it. So it is easier to just eliminate the craving than it is to resist the craving. So if you use your phone all day long playing games, watching videos, your phone battery is going to be drained, right? So you want to go and have a little bit of willpower if you're done working, so that way you can spend it with your family and do those positive things with your family or whatever you do maybe after work. Next, replace whatever you're trying to eliminate or trying to change in your life with something else. So for me, Mountain Dew, it was with non-sweet tea or like a sweet substitute. And by substituting that, I had something to replace that craving, and over time I was have to do that. But this last part is probably the most important part, is have an accountability partner. I had 2, and I want to give them a huge shout out. One is my wife, my awesome spirit mate, soulmate, whatever you want to call her. And then number 2, I have a very good friend who sits across from me, and she has, she saw me with the soda. She asked me the hard question, hey, what's that doing in your hand, right? And so I thank those 2 because they have, in their own little way, have made my life better. So let's move to the personal challenge. So this will be kind of steps that you can do to, build good habits today. Pick an easy habit that you want to change. So here's an example, one that I have changed about 3 months ago, is I wanted to learn how to read the Word, renew myself in the Word. So that's an easy statement. It's kind of hard. Is it just reading the Bible? Is it just reading one verse a day? No, renewing yourself in the Word is reading the Word, understanding the Word, and changing your life every day closer to what God's will is. Okay, so that way you're never going to earn God's grace, but each and every day we can try to become a better form of ourselves, so that way we then can empower others to become better forms of themselves. So make it easier to make that first step, that first routine if you think. So what I did was I set the Bible on a table with a green and a red marker. I have a select place. I can't read small print anymore because I'm getting a little older in my age. So I have my reading glasses there. So that way I just pull out my reading glasses, I open it to where the chapter I left off, and I highlight what I want to know. Then after that, I pray for all the people who have asked me for prayers. And that way I can encourage others, whether if it's not in person, at least it's through prayer. The next part is, so this is number 2, you want to make it harder to stop doing the things you don't want to do. So for me, every morning I had that very bad habit where I would open my phone and check my messages and boop, boop, zzz, buzzes, things. I try to put it on do not disturb, and I try to make it not the first thing that I do in the morning. So that way I remain committed to reading the Word and renewing myself in the Word. Okay. And even if I have to do something else, I know that I have that desire now that I have to go back with that. So make it harder. So that means if it's something that's bogging down your time, whether it's social media or let's say turning on the TV, if you watch too much TV, take the batteries out of your remote, put them in a different location. Even that small act of having to go get them, put them in the remote, and then turn on the TV, trust me, will make you think. It's amazing how we do that, but you're eliminating that. And the next part is think about what you will add to your life. It's so crazy, right? You're like, oh, I gotta read this. I don't understand it. So for me, there was a lot of stuff I didn't understand. Luckily, I have a very awesome, smart wife who's smarter than me on these subjects. So, but I do the research to try to understand now what I'm reading. So for you, let's say if you're just trying to get in shape, don't worry about, man, I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. I can't. Think about what it will add to your life. I'm gonna be healthier. For me, for the Mountain Dew example, I will not be a diabetic. I will be more healthy and I'll be able to add value to others. Last but not least, use a public display of accountability. So for me, it was my accountability partners asking me, hey, did you have any sodas today? Or, hey, Cos, why do you have that Mountain Dew in your hand? That is a public display. Nobody wants to, for some odd reason, in quiet, we will do bad habits and just into the ground because, well, like I said, it's 95% automatic and our willpower is trash, right? People are naturally lazy, so we'll just take it. But if there's somebody else involved, that's where you do that public accountability, okay? So if you're trying to learn how to run, you can do like pictures, or if you're trying to do stairs, maybe show you progress online. I have some friends who are trying to get in shape and that's what they do. Next, develop a never twice attitude, meaning if you miss a day, you get it, but never miss the second day, right? And that's an attitude that you have to think that maybe there is some type of form of accountability if you miss it twice, okay? And so that's important. So the team challenge. As a team leader, if you want to build an epic culture, understand this, the team's habits define the culture. So whatever your team does, if there's a whole bunch of toxic people on your team, guess what? You have a toxic culture. If all your teams are excited to come into work, then you have an awesome culture, all right? You as the team leader, if you come in and you're just like, man, I don't like being here, what the heck? Guess what everybody else is going to think? They're gonna think they don't wanna be there either, okay? Your habits and how you come in to work form your team's culture. All right, so here's some things what you can do to help change that. Ask the teammates what one habit they would like to change. And that could be change the way they talk, maybe change one thing of their attitude, maybe changing how they come into work, etc. Then ask them to write down that one habit and the why they want to change it, okay? So for me, use the Mountain Dew example is I didn't want to be diabetic. That was my why. It was kind of slap me in the face that you need to change. So for your team, that could be, one characteristic that maybe somebody is very negative in your office and they see how it brings everybody else down. Then they see that, okay, my personal comments or actions affect other people, so I need to change that. So then ask them what barriers that the team has that is preventing them from doing that. This is important because if you make somebody so busy, let's say they want to learn a new technical skill or to be more creative or to be more innovative, if you don't give them the time to do it, that's a barrier. Okay, there are so many offices that are out there that are just going, that they never take a second to take a snapshot to give people the personal time to grow, because if they grow and they form that new habit, it will form into the team's new culture. All right. Now have them pick a behavior that will affect that change. So to repeat, so the first thing that they're going to do is pick what habit they would like to change. The next one is going to be, they're going to write down their why. Then the next thing, so number 3, they're going to pick what barriers that the team might have to change it. And then now they are picking the behavior that will lead to that change. So for me to communicate better, one of my big ones at work was to learn how to listen and ensure that the other person is being heard. At first, this is going to be routine until it can become a habit. Next, pick an accountability partner that is somebody who will hold you accountable, will call you out, will be honest with you when you are not doing that. And I have a couple of people at work that will do that, and hopefully will do that more for me, so that way I learn how to communicate better each and every day. Next, discuss the progress that you have with your team, because if you are not tracking it, whatever you tolerate, you can expect. It's very simple. So look back and see what you can do and change. Last but not least, make sure that you are fearlessly empower others. I wish you a blessed day. I wish you a blessed week. And until next time.